Pulse feedback is the mechanism through which Coachmetrix measures both a self perspective and supporters' perspective of behavior change. Here's a few ideas to get you started and a few tips. Number one, pulse feedback is scheduled or manually kicked off at the participant level. So effectively, you're going to go into the participant's account to access the pulse feedback mechanism. Number two, either the coach or the participant can manually kick off pulse feedback requests. The coach also has the option to schedule or automate pulse feedback requests in advance. The coach can set the number of pulse feedback rounds for the project, and remember that happens at the edit project screen. And the coach can also set the rating scale for the pulse feedback on the same edit project screen. The coach can enable reminders on the same edit project screen, and reminders will send messages to supporters every other day who haven't completed their pulse feedback request from a participant. To kick off the pulse feedback process, scroll down to the appropriate participant that you want to work with. In this case, I'll select Greg Gmail. At the top of the page, you'll see a number of hot links: goals, pulse feedback, supporters, resources, discussions in OneNote. Click on the pulse feedback hot link. From here, you have two options. Either the coach or the participant can manually kick off the pulse feedback process using the request pulse feedback link or button at the top of the page. Click on the request pulse feedback button. At the top of the page, you'll notice that there's a round field. Every time you request pulse feedback, this round field will sequentially move one pulse feedback round forward. You can select or unselect the supporters that you want to be part of this round of feedback, and then click Request Pulse Feedback. Each of your supporters will receive an email to take the pulse feedback request. Using the manual request pulse feedback option is a great option when participants are looking for more real-time feedback in the workplace. So for example, if you look at Greg's behaviors, you'll notice that he's trying to measure how encouraging he is in terms of creating open dialogue during team meetings. So what Greg might do is leave a leadership team meeting, for example, pull out his mobile device, click on Request Pulse Feedback, and get some real-time feedback in terms of how he's doing from a leadership standpoint. The other option that's available for kicking off the pulse feedback process is to use the automatic reviews feature. This feature is only available for the coach. Effectively, the coach can schedule pulse feedback rounds in advance. To do that, the coach clicks on the automatic reviews button. Make sure that the Enable Automatic Reviews checkbox is checked. When that happens, the coach can select the date of the first or the next review, click Save Preferences, and once Click Save Preferences is done, the pulse feedback process will be sent out every 30 days for the number of pulse feedback rounds that were originally configured at the beginning of the project. Just a quick reminder, there are a few features that need to be configured at the project level. So I'm going to go back to my project page, and I'm going to go into my Edit Project mode. I can choose the number of pulse feedback rounds for the project. You can always add more as the engagement moves forward. Again, this is where you're going to select your pulse feedback scale. You're going to select your feedback privacy. Keep a note in mind that once you select this scale and the pulse feedback process starts, that scale locks in place. Same happens with the feedback privacy. The feedback privacy setting will lock after your first pulse feedback request has been submitted. And then, of course, there's the Enable Reminders feature. And when that Enable Reminders feature is checked and the project is saved, a pulse feedback reminder will go out to your supporters every other day until the supporter completes that pulse feedback process.